Okay. All right. I think we're good. Just to send a little bit of notification. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, we're currently live and I can see that, yes. Okay. All right, welcome everybody. Because of the whole link issue, I'm just trying to resend the link to people that were on before because we had over like people coming and then the link wasn't functional. But now that we're good, I can now send the link back. Um, so- Okay, I think we're good now. We're just going to start regardless because a lot of people were expecting me to start on time, but this is a little bit of a delay, and I had to come up with this idea like last minute. So we're just going to proceed with the question and answer session. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't hear you very well. Can you hear me? Let me try. Can you hear me now? It's a little bit difficult. I can't hear anything you're saying. Is your mic on mute? Can you hear me now? Let's see. I can't hear anything you're saying. No, I can see your chat, but I can't hear you. Okay. Still can't hear you. Let me see. Okay. Okay, try again. I don't know if this is better. Oh, the sound is a little bit of an issue. Let me see. Can you hear me now? Okay, it's better. I can hear you.
You can hear me now.
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay.
I think I had to add you on stage now for me to hear you. I mean, this is such a delay from the time that a lot of people were expecting to basically get on here. So we just have to work with this. We had about like people coming, but because of the whole delay and everything, I wasn't able to do this again. But I feel like what the issue was we didn't work on the communication source, but I think we're good now. So I think we could just start with people that we have, and moving forward, I mean, we'll do a better, at least now we know this works and we can be able to do a better coordination. We can start now actually. Or just give me 1 minute
So take
again.
your time. Is it the same link?
No, it's a different link. So that's what the problem is. It's a different link.
Oh,
Just give me a minute. So yeah, so now the team is like trying to see how we can, take away the old link and put in the new one. So yeah. I mean, I think we can actually pretty much start regardless. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, so I think we could just proceed with what we have right now. And as we proceed, I mean, my team, they're working on it now. So, yeah, I think they're working on it
they work on
now.
adding my own destination.
Oh, you can do that? Oh,
Yeah, you can do that. You can stream to my own audience.
okay.
Yeah, so we just
Okay, so I think I've gotten a little bit of, yeah.
so I come here and I click.
Mm, okay. I think we can actually start with the number that we have right now and see how far we can go so we don't take much time. Okay.
Okay.
My camera is on now.
If I sent you a message,
Okay. So I'm honestly, I don't know. I really don't know how this works because it just turns out to be like a second alternative right now. But I think we could proceed.
oh no, no problem.
Yeah, I think it's on the internet. But we can proceed. I mean, I think the good thing about it is that it can be saved, and then maybe afterward I could figure out what we could do, or maybe next time that I'm aware of this. It's just that the initial link we had, everybody were already subscribed to it, and now I have to basically call them again. Yeah, I think we can proceed with the questions. So I just think this live is just basically to hold a little bit of an accountability check on developers' end. I mean, even if we don't get to get the audience now, my main intention is to also replay the video and also allow people to be able to rewatch it, because I think it's very important that we talk about accountability in real estate.
We're not gone live yet, right? What do you want to do?
Yes, we have. We are live right now, actually.
Okay. Okay, let's go.
Hello. I think we'll just get back. Why is Freedom Way so hot? Honestly, I was hoping we'd have like a whole tons of questions before we start, but I don't know what's happening. I've been trying to get on the stage, but I don't know. So I think we could just start with what do you mean by freeway? Do you mean Freedom Way? The properties at Freedom Way so hot right now. Because it's actually a growing development. So that's why. So the purpose of this is to basically take an accountability take a little bit of an accountability test on real estate, and we had some questions coming in. We were supposed to get Mr. Uche to get with the questions, but I don't know what's happening on his end. So just so for the purpose of those who have taken out their time to start the live, I just think we'll just proceed basically with the drafted questions. So I just wanted to, yes, actually Freedom Way. I got a question on the website. Uchi, are you ready now to be on stage? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, great.
We're currently online, we're streaming, and we've got a question coming in. I was hoping we'd start with your question so we could move to the, but I don't know what's going on.
We can hear you clearly.
Yes, I was hoping we'd start with the whole question because we've been 15
Oh,
minutes
well,
streaming
okay,
and
with my
nothing.
questions. Oh, okay. Okay, sure. Sure. All right. So let's go.
We've been streaming for 15 minutes now with nothing. I've been trying to call your attention to it.
Yes, I'm saying let's go. We can start. I'm
It's
ready
starting
now.
with you.
Oh, I have to ask the questions, right? All
We're
right.
supposed to make an introductory. Yes, you have to start the question.
Okay. So hi everyone. I'm Uche Philip Emoji from OwnAhome TV. I'm happy to be here today joining Gifts, Amadi of Victoria Acres. And about 3 years ago, I was at the Corinthian residence when it was not complete and it was still off plan. And we recorded it, a very successful project. And now she's doing the second project. So, I'm just here to talk more about developer accountability as a real estate consultant in the space, helping clients find properties around Lagos. We want to look at the challenges in off-plan projects, the opportunities, and what every stakeholder can basically learn from the industry and from how to do things properly, learn from mistakes, learn from challenges in the past, basically. So thank you for having me, Gift.
You're welcome. Actually, I was going to say the Corinthian residence is like 2 years ago because today, this August marks its 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, I
So
was there
yeah, so we're just basically
2023. That was the last time I was there.
2023. That's when we started, and we delivered 2020, and then we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary. When you came in, it was still we're still on the third stage. We haven't even started the
Yeah.
fittings when you came in. So it was a
Hmm.
24 months project. We delivered last year, August, and this year we're currently reaping up the benefit of the project basically. So that's the total breakdown of the current resident. But we have another one now that we're building, which is like the 2.0 version of it, which is a bigger, a much more interesting project around Freedom Way. So that one is the one that we're working on, and we plan on finishing in December and doing a full handover in March. That's when we intend to do that with the project. So I'm getting questions coming in as well. So I'll just be taking that. I got a message from Nostal Tech, and it's asking where's the Corinthian residence located. So it's located at Freedom Way, Lekki Phase One. Freedom Way, the VFX place where you do your biometrics when you want to leave the country. What an unfortunate say. So when you're coming back as well, we now have an investment property just right there. It's close to the Purple Mall, which is like a new one-stop mall where we have like fitness center, a cinema, a shopping mall as well. So these are the primary facilities connected to the Corinthian residents. 2.0 actually. So this is the second one, like a double version of it. Okay, we can go ahead now with you, Mr. Uche.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So, give me a second, please.
Okay. I can't
Okay.
seem to
So
see.
let me just okay. So in your experience, Ms. Gift, what do you think? Um,
Sorry, yeah. I can hear you now.
okay. Okay. So in your experience, what do you think makes the buyer come back? So you did a very successful first project, you sold out, and you're almost sold out in this new project. So what do you think makes buyers, come back after they bought from a project, they bought from a particular company, makes them come back for, the second time? I know we've had some repeat clients as well in this new one.
So the most important thing that makes like buyers to actually come back, because the thing about our project is that we don't just have like buyers, we have buyers that are making referral to other interested buyers. So we have like people kind of like spreading the gospel for us. We don't even necessarily need to do a lot of stuff. And I think one of the things that
Hmm.
I noticed that we did was different that make a lot of
Hmm.
people come back is that we decided to take charge of management. So we don't
Okay.
just sell and we go. We also, give them some options. Do you want this managerial system? Do you, would you prefer to do your own managerial system? So when we put that structure in place, people now not just trust on buying right now, they also trust on the aftercare, which is they are sure that these people are going to bring the right personnel to help maintain this project. So one thing I noticed recently that helps me sell better is when I invest in project management and the maintenance of an asset.
Okay. That's interesting. Um, Thank you so much for that. So buyers love hearing below market value, and many real estate developers and also agents, they use that to try to sell properties. So from your experience, what separates an actual genuine deal that is below market value from, probably just marketing gimmicks? Hello? Hello?
Okay, I think I'm back now. I don't know what happened with my network. I'm so sorry. I can hear you now.
Comes with the turf. Okay, so did you
Yes,
get my
please, you
last
can proceed.
question?
I didn't get
Did
your
you get my
last
last
question. I
question?
couldn't hear. No, not
Okay.
at all.
All right. So what I said is that the buyers like to hear below market value, and many people use it for marketing. Below market value, below market value. But from your experience, what do you think is a genuine deal that is below market value, and how will buyers be able to tell or differentiate a genuine deal below market from just marketing gimmicks?
Okay, so I usually tell people I don't use the word below market value when I'm advertising to my client. I usually tell them you get the best deal for yourself on the market, because when you use the word below market value, I'll give you an example as to what changed my perspective. So like 3 years ago, we had this project that was at Ologolo. The property was about 200 million. Back then it was very expensive in that area because nobody was buying at Ologolo at 200, right? So development like started happening in that area, and we were contacted by the developer. He doesn't know what's going on, and we did our own research, and we found out that at the current rate right now, he's selling. The, sorry, can you get me?
Yeah, you're back on now. You're back on
I'm
now.
just going to do this. The properties in those areas are currently being sold for 200, and then we did our analysis and we found out our clients currently selling below the market value, and then we put it at 210 and people started buying because people felt like at that price, at that 200, there was something wrong with it. But so when we now put it at the
Something
right
wrong.
price, we now were able to get the value for our project. So to me, when you want to get the best value of your market, I don't really think you should be looking at price. Number one thing you should be looking at is the location and how fast that development is. So to me, the best value for
Mm-hmm.
you is a property that appreciates over time. The property that right now is the hottest cake and you buy it and then you are in serious mess. It doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's developing that area, is on still. The hopes and the dreams that are happening there is not working, is not going out. And that's what happens. So when you're looking for the best value for yourself, look at everything involved, look at the development process, look at the amount, the people that will be willing to come together to help you with this project. Look at what is the prospect, what is in the next couple of years, what is this project going to do for me? This location, does it develop? So that to me is what determines the best value. So the best way to know if it's a hoax or not is number one, what is the price point? I remember I was talking to a client one time and somebody was like, they were a time they were talking to this development agency and they were doing buy two, get one free. I'm like, you are not scared. You are not scared.
Buy
It's
two
not buy
houses
two,
and get
get
one
one
free.
free.
Oh my
I
God.
would run. She said she had to call her friends, and I'm like, call your friends or
Wow.
call the police.
Mm.
So yeah, so one of the things you need to understand is it has to be in a good location, the deal has to be right,
Yeah.
and the property should be in a place whereby you can bank on development. You can bank that the people
Mm-hmm.
that are starting the project are basically going to finish it. So that's the best way you can get the value for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. I think that was also you answered the second follow-up question I was going to ask, which is what do buyers look for beyond the numbers? So let's say you have a particular location and you have four projects, and you have three projects that are, at a certain price point, and then you have a fourth one that is seemingly below market value. So I think you already answered and on things that buyers can look forward to or to look at or ask questions just below beyond the numbers. Okay, so the next question I'll ask with off-plan development, sometimes you have unneeded some things you did not foresee happening as a developer. So what should buyers be aware of, especially in Nigeria, when timelines shift? How can they protect themselves? Basically, how could they manage such a situation where a developer comes and they give you a handover date, a completion date, and then it shifts, once, twice, three times. How would a buyer go about handling such a situation?
So first thing I usually do is that I usually advise developers to be realistic and they should also manage time. One thing exposure has helped me in my career is to be aware of what is happening outside and also like judge what's going on inside. When I was working with Shoba, for instance, they do not sell you dreams, they sell you reality. So they'll be like, it's going to take us 24 months to get this project done. Another thing again that they do is that let's say it's going to take them 14 months to get this project done, they'll tell you it's going to take them 20 months. So whatever thing they need to get it. So another thing I usually advise developers first of all is that you have to be realistic. One, two, you have to manage expectations. Don't go and sell them and say, "Oh, don't worry, be ready by December." When you know that,
Mm,
with and another thing again, I say again, communicate. There are cases in our projects where we have to stall. Maybe the shippings we're expecting didn't come in time, and it's going to take us back by another extra 2 months. We will tell the clients that, hey, give us 3 months, just in case 2 months doesn't work out. Let's use the
mhm,
remaining month to look at other alternative that we can ensure. But we won't oversell you the
mhm.
timeline and we'll let you know from day
Yeah.
one so you can prepare yourself. We don't want a situation
Mhm,
whereby we are, starting and we're getting rushed up. We want to set up, we want to test run, we want to put the management system, we want to do so many things involved. So one of the best way for us to be able to achieve that is by not overselling the dreams. That's number one. Number two, communicating effectively. If there's going to be delay, because I cannot assure you that if I put 24 months, it's going to happen 24 months. Dollar valuation can mess up with our shipment, and then I have to ask for an extension. But the most important thing is that we communicate and we're realistic with our clients. Another thing again with the buyers is that sometimes they are not also ready to accept the reality. When you tell them it's going to be available, there's going to be oh, we're going to cause a delay or whatever. Because what we do in our organization that will tell you we're going to have a delay. If you're not interested in waiting, would give you back your full money back. And then we would, because we know that once we're done, we get the right value for what we just did, right? And what we're selling for you is below the market value. So we'll give you those options for you to actually decide. And whatever you come up with, then we'll be able to take effect. But we'll definitely, another thing again, I also tell developers that I've also noticed that they don't set up the terms for closing. Before I, sell my house or any of my properties to any client, we always have an offer letter where we state all the terms of closing. What's going to happen if you do not meet up with your payment? How do we resell? What's going to happen if our milestone is being set back? Like, what's going to happen with the administrative system? We put that all in the offer so you know what you're in for. Not when you come in and the terms are changing, you're confused. You would always see it in your offer. Now, offer, we also have what happens when we need an extension. So I think we should also prepare for like the crisis management as developers. We should prepare for
Mhm.
every single thing that we're going to be seeing before we, start communicating with the clients. The back end is always very
Okay.
important.
Okay. Thank you. A follow-up question on that. So just like you said, your conditions for closing, and usually that's in your contract. But Nigerian developers have been accused that that contract heavily favors their side if they don't meet up with the obligations, and heavily penalizes the buyer if they don't meet up with their own obligations. What do you think about that, and what is your organization doing differently in that regard?
First of all, we have to communicate the risk. The person who is going to be taking the biggest risk here is the developer. First of all, I usually ask myself, what's the issue with the delay? Is it the money? Because one thing I always tell the clients too, when they say that majority of them isn't the risk was on their end, I always let them that the risk is actually in the developer's end. If he doesn't finish that project, he won't be getting another loan to redevelop. If he doesn't finish that project, he's probably not going to be able to sell to another set of people. And if he doesn't finish that project, a lot of things is going to happen. If he doesn't even finish that project, and one thing I also try to also explain too, I've also closed outside the country, right? There are cases whereby, one or two payments is being delayed and they take everything from you and give you just the equity, if it has equity, so to say. So most of the times, the majority of the risk comes from the developers. And then I always try to let clients understand that if the developer is asking for an addition in price, I look at all the factors. Is he making a ridiculous offer? Is dollar from 1,000 now at 200 and everybody has increased the price and we expect the developer to still have the same price? Is that what we're talking about? Because one thing you need to understand, developer is depending on everyday commodity. We do not know the amount of cement that we need to do a house until we are done with the house. So we can start with, we need 1,000 bags, and due to one issue or the other, maybe mishap, or we're depending on laborers, one thing or the other happens, we're not able to do
Mhm.
that. How do we quantify to finish the project? Because whether we like it or not, we need to finish the project. So I always look at what are the things that are setting developer back. Is it a case of greed whereby the developer is trying to cut corners or trying to compromise, or is it a reality of the economy that the developer is hopping on?
Okay. Okay. So basically, the risk lie heavily at the developer's end. So the contract would also spell that, and
Yes.
people that are subscribing should, try to keep their side of the bargain. But so that means you're now saying that we should give you people a bit of latitude when you don't deliver on time or when there are issues on
I'm
your
not
own
saying you
end.
should not deliver on time. I'm not saying that I'm saying there are developers that have started projects and because they overpromised, they were not able to do that. For instance, now what we do at the Corinthian residence, like we don't sell off plan. Off plan is not majority of our 40. Like I was explaining to you earlier today, we were able to sell 45 days after we're done with development. And that's when we're done with our system. We know how much we actually want to get from this project. So we on our own end, when we notice the economy is shifting, we stop the sales. I know some developers that are depending heavily on bank interest and everything, and they proceed with the sales and all that. But what I'm saying right now is that when it comes to the formation of the contract, the person who bears majority of the risk
Mm.
taking if the project is to fall, it will go slowly to the developer. So
The
in most cases,
developer. Sure.
they want to be the ones in charge. So what I tell my clients is they can be the ones in charge of constructing it, but you be the one in charge of the final say. I don't want this clause here. Always get your lawyers involved to peruse the document.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
a stamp that you must follow exactly. If your developer puts some clause there that you think is funny, you can always speak with your legal team and be like, this clause I think is funny, let's change it. You don't have to take everything a developer gives to you as his yay and amen, right? So I always tell people, even when we're working, because we also have, so one of the things I also advise people to do is because of this demolition thing that is happening, we decided to get our own in-house lawyer that was going to draft the documents to be the same. We do not want Okonkwo and Sons and this person before you know the clauses are different. Okonkwo is saying he wants 12 months. Ijoma and Co is saying they want. Do you understand? We don't want that discrepancy. Let's all have the same voice. If the government is coming to fight, let's all stand together. This is the legal team in charge. Let's hold them responsible. No, we get that a lot, honestly.
What what do you have about? What do you have against Okoko?
I'm just saying, like, in some cases, you see, some generational people trying to,
Yeah,
and sometimes they want to,
yeah.
add some value and,
Mhm.
make a little bit. I understand all of those thoughts because we have our governor's council, so I'm not even worried. So I'm just like, you know what, take your time, ask me this question. Sometimes they be like, this additional plot you added at the back, show me the deed of assignment for it. I'm like, it's the government's
Mm,
plot. There is the setback that they said we should put. Why should we give you a deed of assignment
mm,
of a setback that belongs to the government? So until you explain those things, you won't be able to
mm,
basically see. So what I usually tell clients is that sometimes developers might want to protect themselves because they know that the majority of the risk, like if something happens now, guess who is going to get their property marked with X that do not buy and all of those things? Guess who is going to
mm.
do all of that? Guess who is going to go and make sure the documentations are right and all of that? So the developer takes majority of the risk sometimes. That's why
The
sometimes they
risk,
would
yeah.
want to be the ones in charge of the. Someone is actually asking a question here. He said, I have a question. Dollar is not high like before. Property is getting higher in price, scaring me to buy, especially in Lekki. What's the factor to consider? Let me tell you the factor to consider. Replacement costs. Replacement costs. If I buy a house of 200 million and I'm a developer that wants to sell and I want to go and buy a land and I found out that my 200 million is not sufficient enough to buy me my land, I will go back and look at the price of my house and adjust it because I'm here to be in the business. So it's not even about the dollar anymore. The prices of land are increasing. And that's one thing I did for my team, right? We do an assignment whereby you go check the values of land, and we also do like valuations about it after the assignment. And they found out that 40% of the money goes into the land, not even the construction. And they were shocked. Lands are being called for 1 point something million dollars, 2 billion, 5 billion. You have to be strategic on how to spread out the assets. So what is making the price of house go expensive right now is not even the dollar rate, is the replacement cost. People are trying to replace, developers that are in business are trying to stay in business. And in order for them to replace it, they have to currently ask for the current price of those properties that are on the market. So dollar is a factor when it comes to commodity, when it comes to the cement, when it comes to the road, when it comes to the sand. But when it
Mhm.
comes to being in business, what developers look out for are the replacement costs. So if I cannot replace an asset that I'm selling, that means I can't be in business. So that's one of the most motivating factors. And we all know what to do. I always tell my clients, we all know what to do to make the prices of house become cheap, but we don't have that conversation.
Thomas, I think we are here to have that conversation today.
No, no, no. I'm not gonna be having that conversation and becoming the most wanted, yeah. But we all know what to do before
Okay.
the real estate company. But we all know what to do.
Okay. That was actually a very good answer to that question that was being asked. And so the next question will be, what happens when everything goes wrong? It's not the developer's fault. Actually.
Sorry, I didn't get what you said.
Okay. I said, what happens when it all goes wrong? So it's not the developer's fault. It's not the buyer's fault. The buyer kept to the timeline. The developer had issues that were above and beyond their power. And the project actually does fail and the
What do you
project
regard
crashes.
as the project failing? I want to understand that.
Um, okay, let me phrase it a different way. So a developer comes back and tells clients, "Oh, we need 40% more." We did see one of those situations recently that was in the news. We need 40% more, and after maybe 2 years, we can't complete your project. And so it's either we give you back your money, which is not going to get you an equivalent of that project. Let's say it was a 4 bedroom or a 5 bedroom or a 3 bedroom. That money that you have has gone through inflation, devaluation, and the developer is saying either you pay a 40% increase or you take your money back. Sometimes they will even want to remove admin charges. So when you have issues where a project crashes and the buyers are, are recoursing to social media. So in your opinion, what does accountability look like for a developer, when things go wrong? How do you even start to explain that? How do you prepare people for that? And how do you make sure that everybody has an understanding of that situation, basically? Yeah.
Okay, so just to answer the first question that you said, what happens when a project when the developer is asking for 40% more? So this I usually think differently. I'm so sorry. The first thing I usually ask developer is that what's the current equity of that project? If like when we were doing the current resident 1.0, we were selling for 40 million and dollar just went crazy and was selling for 120, and now we're asking buyers to bring 120 because that's what the property is worth. And when I did my survey, I realized that in that area properties are now worth 150, and with the infrastructures that we have, the elevator and everything, it's basically the equity is definitely more. If the equity does not reflect to the numbers that the developer is giving to me, I'm not interested. That's why I say I take a different standpoint. I'm not going to be, because I tell you something that I've experienced here. I don't look at people's emotions, I look at the numbers, because everybody complains about Coca-Cola being very toxic or cut Coke off. But Coke is recording 1 billion in sales every day. They're
Mhm.
every month, every year they're having $1 billion in revenue. That means when people are done complaining, they still go back and patronize. So I look at the numbers. Is the reality in the number? Are you telling me that I should bring more money because you need to finish this project? And once you finish the project, is the current value of that area is going to reflect in my equity? I do not mind if I've done my calculation. I will do a negotiation. Obviously, I would, not. I would first of all do weary first before negotiate, because you guys should. Do you understand? But first thing I ask myself is that, is it a reflection on the equity? And you as a developer, if you cannot answer that question for me, then we'll have issues. Because now my
Okay.
client that bought at 80, he can now sell at 150 and he invested 80.
Yeah. But okay, so just to clarify, the whole idea of coming off plan, and especially people that pay off very fast, the whole idea is they're trying to peg their investment at a certain level, and they're also offering they're giving the developer some form of capital to be able to continue to the project. So what I'm saying is that the developer is now going back to somebody that has paid a certain tranche of, and completed their payment, and is asking them for extra payment. So even if that money reflects the equity in that area, the equity was supposed to be added to what the buyer has. Not the buyer doesn't have to pay for that equity, if you understand what I mean. He's supposed to
I
gain from
understand
that
what you mean.
equity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally understand what you mean. But when I was also working in real estate outside the country, when I was doing Denmark real estate, when they increased the price of the property, they didn't even give us any explanation. They just sent us their quotation. So sometimes I always ask people, what standard are we holding Nigerian developers by? Because I remember when I told someone that, out there, if you don't meet up your payment, they can take the property from you and sell it off, right? The person was like, no, but here in Nigeria, they don't meet up your payment, you have to give them back their full price. So what standard are we holding developers by? Because if those people who are big and famous and have all the money to do all of this are telling you that once the property they see 1% increase in inflation or interest in there, they're going to send you, because I've done real estate with a lot of companies outside, and once there's an increase in price, there is no can we sit down and talk about it? Is hello, update on our price point, what are we going to do?
Mm,
So I always ask, like, what standards are we holding? Are we because me, I see
mm.
sometimes some things that there's some cases that clients will push you, give the client your full money back, and you're not going to look at your own money that you invested in getting that apartment ready, hoping that the client is going to move in immediately. You're not looking at all those things. You just want peace to reign. So you're giving the client back their money. I've
Yeah.
seen those cases. right? And I've seen some developers that are like, you know what, I won't give you back your money until I'm able to resell that project because I've already
Hmm.
invested in it. So until I resell that project, I've gotten what I invested in it, because at this point, it's no longer selling for me to get interest, it's selling for me to deliver at your own peril. So I always ask,
Yeah.
every other real estate company that I know that are big and sophisticated, once there's a price increment, they send you an email. The only thing that they do is that they send you 2 months or 3 months ahead. Developers here, 1 week, please see to the email. Do you understand? They send you 2 months or
Mm.
3 weeks, 3 months ahead that we're going to increase our price. And then they increase the price. And if you cannot even meet up, they take it away from you and give you your equity. But I'm not seeing that here in Nigeria. I see developers sometimes. I feel like sometimes people need to dive into the world of developers. Interest rate at 26%, every day increasing. And if you do not have the full capital, you cannot now deliver. And clients are calling you every day over one changes or the other. I mean, I'm all for my client. Don't I bash bad developers, but something I always tell developers is that even if you're going to do what you're doing, strengthen your delivery. Like, I know some developers don't do inventory check, and I'm like, so how would you know when you deliver if you're not running your inventory checks?
Hmm.
So don't worry, by December I will do it. I'm like, your inventory is saying March, but your spirit is telling you
Mm.
December.
Mm. Mm.
So that's another thing again we need to look out for.
Okay, thank you. So, you've won buyers. I think something very unique about your experience is that you've been both at the agency end and you're now in the developer end. So you're both at playing at two sides. So you've warned your viewers and your clients about field projects before. If you're advising somebody today, what's one red flag that you would say they should not ignore that shows that a project is destined for failure?
So one thing I usually do that I tell people to do is that it's not just about who owns this, it's also what does this person own. It's not just going to Alausa and checking if the name tallies. You also have to check if the survey plan also tallies. What is the quota portion that the government recognized that this person owns? That's what the problem is. Some people encroach and overextend, and you won't know that until you go to the chief surveyor's office. So, two things I tell my lawyers to do: don't just go to Alausa, also go to the land registry office and see that this developer is actually building on the allocated plot that Lagos State recognizes. That's my number one. My number two is be very wary of properties that are built on canals. People see these things, but because it's 60 million, I'm buying a house at Ikate for 60 million. You're buying a Wahala at Ikate for 60 million, but you don't know. But actually, you just want your ego to win some type of way. But you know that property is like that guy, that lady that I told buy two for 150. If she sat down herself in the middle of the night and thought about it, she would have said, but she was too excited, so she didn't see that. So when it's necessarily cheap, it doesn't have the right documentations. In my case, for Victoria Acres, I usually have a meeting before we even go for an inspection. Let's get to know me, let's get to know you, let's get to talk, let's get to understand ourselves, let's get to know the terms that are guiding each property before we actually go towards them. And then,
Mhm.
like, everybody is aware of what's going on. So if it's unnecessarily cheap, if they are being very shady, if they cannot provide you the survey plan and also the deed of assignment or the consent, then you should be very, very wary. And in most
Very, very
cases, you can't even have a consent if your property is not even in the survey. So people should look out for those information as well. And the structure of the organization. People tend to look down on organizations that have structure. Go to organizations that have systems and procedure. That's another way I use in knowing if I'm dealing with the right set of people or not. Because people that have right system means that they've experienced certain things that made them have those systems. So you want to be on those people that have the right experience.
okay. Thank you for that. Um, so the next question would be, you've like again, you're on both sides. You're a developer and also you're an agent. And so, but you're still selling as a developer because you have to sell your project to people. So how do you feel knowing that people are making multi-million naira investments, probably their whole life savings, uh, because of your recommendation? Does that come with a lot of pressure? Does that come with, do you find yourself sometimes second guessing or doubting yourself?
I'm very, very excited about that. I sometimes I see myself like setting the standard. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on what kind of standards to set. Our first project was like tons of pressure, but one of the things that I'm so happy that I do that makes me feel safe is that I do research. I know when I say this, people are like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I actually move around. I actually look at stuff. I actually give in advice. So whenever I'm talking to someone and they're spending that money, I also feel the gravity of, oh, we're both making a good investment. Like I'm excited. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we are both getting this together. I've done my research. We can get this. And if you check most of my surveys that I give to you, there's a place where I do survey where I do how much, what you look at as a long-term investment, what you have to look at as a short-term investment. I always put that there because I go around and I ask. So when I'm spreading these numbers to you, sometimes I even look at the numbers as being very tiny, but they're very hopeful. So it gets me very excited that we're setting like the standard that's needed. And it gets me so excited because we also do like our research. So we're like, let's do this and let's start making this money. That's how we feel sometimes because we make
Mm-hmm.
sure we also do our to some extent we also do our own search once we have like mandated projects that we sell. So with that, it helps me tone down the anxiety, especially when you know that I've done something. I'm not just working out of speculative value. And I could say for sure that none of our clients, even at the Corinthian resident 1 point, has ever called me to say that this issue is there, that issue is there. We do so well to the point that we carry each management, like it's a continuous process. The faces you see are familiar. So you won't come and be like, what, these people. So that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I take pride in. The fact that, we're doing the right thing, we're setting the right standard, we're doing the right research, and we're guiding people towards it's like it's the second most expensive decision you ever make apart from your family or your personal business, right? This is the second, or
Mm-hmm.
even more expensive than getting a car. So you have to have the right research, you have to have the right personnel working with you to get you the right result that you need.
Okay, thank you for that. So the next question I'll ask is, since you've been doing this for a couple years, are there any projects, or is there any projects, it can be both positive or negative, or you can give us both, that you predicted would end a certain way and it ended up exact way you predicted?
Well, there are projects that I I haven't actually experienced. That property in Ikoyi that collapsed, that time that it
Oh,
actually collapsed, was such a very funny incident because that day I was supposed to meet with the developer at that site. That same moment
oh
it
my
happened.
God.
But what
Oh my God.
happened was the house I was in a house store, I forgot my shoes. And you know how Ikoyi works, right? If you come out from Parkview, you have to turn again to enter into Banana. And the house is around like Oni Ikoyi Banana area. So I was like, and the client developer was like, if you don't pick up your shoes, you're not gonna pick them up again because I'm leaving here. So I was like, okay, fine. Let me just pick up the shoes, still the same route. It's gonna take me 360, but let me just do it. Maybe I got to 360 and I picked up the shoes. We just heard the whole story. And we're just like,
Jesus.
what?
Wow.
Like how?
Wow.
Speak of like we had this I was like,
Wow.
it's not for this shoe. And then me, I would have just been like, oh, don't worry about the shoes. Let's just go where we're going to. But that shoes, it's not that my favorite shoe. So that should save my life in some
That should
essence.
save your
So
life.
I can see
Oh
some
my God.
projects and I can, yes, it's my Cinderella story. So like one of the things I can see when I see like a project coming, I can tell when, like I said, when a developer is becoming shady, I don't have my layout, I can do it from my head. Hmm.
Mm,
Developers that say I can do it from my head, I don't.
mm,
I want to see your architectural framework. I want to see your layouts. I know you can
mm.
do it from your head. Nobody's disputing you now. Like we know back in those days, you used to
Yeah.
build all the major developments in your city. But now nobody's interrupting you. But now we have to do something way better. So
Mm,
me, a layout is very, very important. Structural layout. I even need to see the people that you're going to work with, especially in the electrical part, because that's very, very important. Your M&E. So those things are like much more important to me. So I look at the layout. I look at the willingness to work with a developer as well. I also look at like developers that are open for what's the word I'm looking for? So developers are open for advice. I know some developers that
Yeah.
will ask me, oh, they don't go around, that I go around, they want to build and we have like I have some developers before they go into Ikoyi, I tell them, see, nobody's going to buy from you. Even if you have a very lovely structure, nobody's going to buy from you. You have to go there, you have to massage some egos, you have to sell yourself, and you have to have some money. Yeah, you have to
Mm.
have some money. You can't tell Ikoyi developer or buyers that this, because their dirty December is their dirty December, not dirty December on the March, not dirty December. You have to, so you have to be open, willing to talk to people, associate. You have to go and look at projects. I know developers that spend 1 week to look at projects before they start, and I really, really love that. So you have to go look at projects. You have to be sure. You have to have your layout, and you have to know the team that you're going to be involved with when you're doing this.
Oh, thank you so much, Gifts. I've learned a lot today, and I think this story that you just told is a story that actually needs to be told. How you were saved by your shoes, and yeah, I'm actually publicly extending an open invitation for her to come to my own channel, to have more conversations on this. We are running out of time now, but thank you for having me, kind of go through moderate this session. Thank you for everyone that also is currently streaming and those that would watch this sometime later in the future. Thank you so much. So I'll hand over now to give to close, basically.
Am I going to do closing prayer?
You're on the floor now. I'll just
All right,
drop off
thank you
stage.
guys. I apologize for this whole. I really do appreciate people that actually did show up. We're gonna do better next time, I promise. Yeah, this is definitely gonna happen again. This is very encouraging. I'm very disappointed in myself for not making this right the first time, and I do apologize for that. But I do promise the next time we're gonna do this is gonna be way more interesting, engaging. We'll get the platforms right. And I promise we'll have like slideshows and everything. This is just my first try with a collab, but I'm very, very excited, and I'm looking forward to doing this again. Thank you so much. Bye. Oh.